If you are the healthiest guy out there, you're Jack LaLanne of your age group, and you drink wheatgrass shakes every day, never touch any sugar, never touch processed food, don't drink, don't smoke, walk your 12,000 steps a day. I mean, doing everything right, and you don't get hit by a car, and your family has long extended history. Your mortality, think about mortality, chance of death, your mortality multiplier will be negative. Now, first of all, at our company, we never, ever buy policies on a person who has a negative mortality multiplier. We never buy policies on somebody that is the average, the zero. We buy people with a positive mortality multiplier. Think about that. A positive means they're more than likely to die than the average person in their segment, their gender, their race, all of that. Hello, everybody. I'm Ben Mohr, your host of Truly Diversified, where we look at alternative investments, specifically also talk about life settlements as an investment. That is the company I work with. That is what we do. And if you heard last week's episode, what we talked about here today is the whole factor of, because most people have never heard of this, they think it's just too good to be true. And we gave you tools and information to show you why this product exists, why it is something you need to look at for retirement, and why the ultra wealthy like Warren Buffett and big banks and financial institutions have been buying up this sector for decades. And now just recently in the last 10, 15, 20 years, it's available to people like you. And in the last 5 years, we've really gone out there to get the word out that this is something you need to look at investing in because it offers a nice blend. Number one, decent returns that will most likely outpace inflation. We are seeing some people making double-digit returns. We can show you the numbers on that, while at the same time, you're not exposing your money to any uncertainties like stock market risk or anything that's affected by the economy or political strife or foreign wars or foreign issues or even worldwide events like pandemics. So we have a lot of people coming in and investing with us now because of the fact that they see that they can take a portion of their money, put it over with us, and that it's not affected by those situations, and that they are seeing decent, great results. Okay. So last week's episode, what I talked about there was the factor that because people hadn't heard about this that much, I mean, I would say if I was in front of a room of 100 people, 98 of them have never heard of it. The other two have slightly heard about it. And when they explain it back to me, they don't really understand the full picture. So that is why I go around the country talking to people about this to educate them on how this works, because it is a lesser known niche type of investing. And I've been in this business for about 3 decades now and have helped people educate them on how this works. And the first thing always is it just sounds too good to be true. How is this not illegal, et cetera, et cetera. And we've explained to them last week on how it is absolutely legal. And if you're working with a regulated company and buying it through them, that is the way to go. And we're one of the leaders of that here, dealing in life settlements and buying this as an investment. You can go to lifeassetllc.com. Again, lifeassetllc.com. On there, there's a link tree. You click on it, and you're going to see in there, we have the brochures, we have an ebook, we have a webinar, a ton of information to get educated on this and see if it's a right fit for you. Now, with that said, if I want to kind of do a little what we call inside baseball here, because people are fascinated about this, just the idea of they had no concept they could buy another person's life insurance policy. So one of the questions I get all the time is, how do you select the policies and how does that process work? So I want to walk you through this. We hire a third-party company that specializes in finding those really good policies. The way I would give the analogy is, you ever see somebody at the grocery store who's picking through 20 apples and they're just looking at them, searching for every little thing and, they're inspecting them to no end. That is what this company does for us, is they go through all these policies to find policies that fit the needs of our client base and make sure these are the best quality policies that they can get for us, for our investors. So that's the number one way that we go out and get policies, right? So there's a trusted company out there that has done this for a long time. So they're our providers. So we get the policies from them. We go through legal to make sure that everything's wrapped up and legal and nice. Okay. But part of that process that they use, that they inform us on, is every single policy that we get also comes with what's known as a life expectancy report. Okay, this is the part that people just kind of go, wow, because people go like, well, how do you know that these people are supposedly going to pass away in 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years? How are you able to do that? Well, think about this. If you're going to go buy a house, you're not going to go buy that house without getting an appraisal and a home inspection, right? I mean, you're not going to drop money. Buying your house is probably the largest financial decision you could ever make. You're not just going to go meet a guy on his lawn where he says, number one, I own this house. You're going to go through title to make sure that that is true. And number two, you're going to want an appraisal on the house to make sure that the sales price is what they say it's worth. And number three, you're going to go through. You're going to see what that roof looks like. You want to know what the foundation looks like. You want to know if the termite inspection, all of that. A life expectancy report is just that for buying life settlements. It is a 5, 6, 8-page report done by a medical professional that is literally, this is their expertise, looking into the life expectancy of people. And what they do is they break it down. And it's just as you would imagine. If you and I were sitting with somebody who says, hey, want to buy my life insurance policy, what questions would you ask? Well, the first thing you want to look at, obviously, is genetics, right? Is how old were your parents when they passed away? What did they pass away from? Did your uncles and aunts pass away from the same thing? Is that a history of that in your family? Do you have brothers or sisters? Are they still alive? How did they pass? That gives you the first indication on genetics. Because look, all of us can eat healthy, work out, as I'm sure we all do, right? Hopefully you're doing that, and taking your vitamins and getting your plenty of rest. But one thing you can't outpace on that is genetics. You might extend life for a while, but if your family has heart problems or your family has a certain type of cancer problem, there's a high likelihood at some point in your life that's going to affect you, okay? So genetics is the number one. The second angle that you're going to look at anybody is their medications and past history of surgeries. Today, as we know in this country, we are oversupplied with medications and drugs, right? By the doctors, by the hospital, right? Every malady we have, it's take a drug. And as we know in this country, we have a lot of overdoses in this country that are even medical overdoses. I'm not talking about somebody buying oxycodone from some dealer down the street. A lot of people misuse their medications, especially in their older age, not because they're abusing it, but just because they didn't properly take it. And those medications are going to have a taxing effect on your body, especially as you get older. So what we look at is drug interactions. Like, what drugs is that person taking for those different things? Because you'd be, surprised to hear that, yeah, maybe they're taking this one drug and they're taking drug B, and both those drugs are okay. But when you mix those drugs together, they can create a toxic environment for that person's body. That's another area we look at is the medicine. What is the prescriptions they're in? What are the surgeries they've had? The third thing is going to be obviously social history is what we call it, which is what is this person's picture right now in life? Do they smoke? Do they drink? Are they still married? These are the important things. Do they drink? Do they smoke? Are they still married? Okay. Are they married? The reason being is the facts have shown statistically that husband and wife, do fairly well together as a partner. You'll live a longer life. The other thing they've shown is that, say, for a lot of males, that if their wife dies early, men have a lower life expectancy after that. Okay. So you have to look at that as well. You also have to look at, obviously, as we talked about, height, weight. Are you obese? How much are you getting around? Are you sedentary? All these things are stated in this report that gives them a snapshot of what this person's life is compared to the average person in their demographic. Now, the final thing that doctor who does these reports does is they look at they come up with what's known as a mortality multiplier on these reports. And unless you're in the industry, you don't really know what you're looking for there. But what they do is they start out with the usual reports. As you know, they use actuarial charts to do anything in insurance. So here I am, I'm in my early 50s, white guy living in California, okay? They're going to be able to go and look at my actuarial charts based on people my age and say the chance of you living to this number, as we know, is like the average life expectancy is about 80, depending on your race, depending on your gender, right? And so what happens is they're going to say, if they brought 100 Bens in the room and said, hey, here's what's going on, the average life expectancy might be 81 or 82 years old. Some people are going to die, unfortunately, early. They might get in a car accident. That's something that the actuarials cannot show. That's just bad place, bad time. Nothing can happen about that. Then there's going to be some people who might live to 95, right, because of it. But they have the actuarials because it shows them that most likely the average person in this group is going to live to 82. Okay, so that's your mortality multiplier of 0. If you understand a little bit of math here, but it'll make sense. If you are expected to be the average guy out of our 100, now think about it, the average guy isn't the healthiest guy at 1 and the least healthiest or the guy who gets hit by a car, number 100. The average guy is number 50. The number 50 guy would have a multiplier of 0. If you are the healthiest guy out there, you're Jack LaLanne of your age group, and you drink wheatgrass shakes every day, never touch any sugar, never touch processed food, don't drink, don't smoke, walk your 12,000 steps a day. I mean, doing everything right, and you don't get hit by a car, and your family has long extended history. Your mortality, think about mortality, chance of death, your mortality multiplier will be negative. Now, first of all, at our company, we never, ever buy policies on a person who has a negative mortality multiplier. We never buy policies on somebody that is the average, the 0. We buy people with a positive mortality multiplier. Think about that. A positive means they're more than likely to die than the average person in their segment, their gender, their race, all of that. Stop gambling your retirement future on the stock market. I've helped many investors just like you make millions of dollars with double-digit returns without placing one single penny in the stock market. Look, this is a proven strategy that ultra-wealthy, savvy investors like Warren Buffett have used for decades to hedge against stock market risk. So if you're interested in learning how to make competitive returns without stock market risk in an investment that is not affected by politics, worldwide events, or economic woes, all you have to do is simply click on this link below to learn more. So what we do is we look at the index and see that there is a 3 mortality multiplier, or a 2 or a 4 on the policies. And by the way, you get all this when you decide to talk to us, which you can book an appointment through lifeassetllc.com. If you look on that link tree, you'll see that there is a consultation area. We will be able to provide you these life expectancy reports on these insured, and I will show you on there where the mortality multiplier is. Okay. Now, what that does is if you had a 3 on there, what they're saying is this person is 3 times more likely than the average person to pass at that certain time, right? That's what it means. So we're looking for policies with a high mortality multiplier, right? 2, 3, 4. I've seen 5, right? The less healthy somebody is, the higher the multiplier is going to be. So that's where we look at that. And this is what's important. So on those reports, and we give these reports to the investors to read, to see, and we will review them with you. And people are always just fascinated, like, wow, there's actually a report. And I look at them and go, you wouldn't buy a car without getting a Carfax and then having somebody look under the hood, a mechanic, and tell you how it is, a diagnostic on a car. You wouldn't buy a house without getting an appraisal and having somebody do a home inspection. Why on earth would you not buy somebody, if you're going to buy somebody's life insurance, want to know exactly how healthy or unhealthy they are? And we provide that, and we go through it with you so you can see that, yes, these people that we have purchased these policies for these investments are people who are less healthy than the average person in their age group, right? This 80-year-old is less healthy, and here's why they're less healthy than the person in that age group, okay? Final thing people always say is, well, I'm going to laugh because it's funny. They go, do I get the person's name and where they live? No, of course you don't. Of course you don't. For the safety of them, we don't do that. They go, okay, well then how do I know when this person passes away? Well, we hire a third-party company that does health tracking on these people consistently. So they will call the person that we bought the insurance from to find out if they're still alive. Okay. If we don't get that person on the phone, we have a phone tree that goes down to make sure that we talk to somebody in the family. Okay. So that's the first angle. The second angle is we're able to look at their Social Security benefits. We're able to log in and see if they're still getting benefits, because what happens when somebody dies? Their Social Security benefits get cut off. Okay. So that's another way that we're able to do it. Of course, we also monitor any obituaries, but another area that has been very, very in this social media age is we're also paying attention to social media platforms to see if anybody in their family, direct family, has posted. Because think about that. That's how it works. My father passed away probably 10 years ago. And what I didn't want to do was go out there and tell all my friends and all the family. I had immediate family I talked to, but I had friends of mine that knew him as a baseball coach growing up. I didn't want to have the same conversation 200 times. So what did I do? I posted on Facebook and let everybody just put in their condolences that way. So I'm only having this one painful conversation with everybody I know once. That is the way that most people are posting about their loved ones passing away in their older years. And that is a way that we're also to pick up that is the case. Then what happens is we have a death certificate. We go get it because we have an investable interest in this person. We're able to get the death certificate. And then what we do is we submit it to the insurance carrier. That process takes about a month. The money comes in, and then it comes in and then is divided up amongst the investors. Some of it is in a direct check form if you've invested through just straight cash or just your savings account or whatever. If you used an IRA, it's simple. It just goes into your IRA account. Yes, if you go back to previous episodes, we do a lot of business in the IRA area. About 70% of our investors are using IRA, Roth IRA conversion, old 401ks, right? So those are all available to you. So I just today wanted to give you some inside looks on how this works. We just don't willy-nilly walk down the street and say, oh, ma'am, you look like you're kind of old. Would you like to sell your life insurance? No. There's a complete scientific, analytic angle to what we do. We buy policies, and when we do them, we go over their medical records, get a life expectancy report to give us some really inside data that is broken down, that goes beyond the actuarials, where now, because of beyond the actuarial, with all the additional information, social history, health history, family history, expert doctors are able to massage together a mortality multiplier and give us an idea of when this person is expected to pass away. Now, obviously, you don't know the exact day, but these are medical people who have a good indication of when they think this will happen. So again, if you're interested in this idea, you'd love to see some of these reports, I'd love to sit down and chat with you. All you have to do is go to lifeassetllc.com. If you click on the link tree, you'll find an ebook, you'll find webinars, you'll find the offer. But the main thing that you're going to find there as well is my consultation area to book. You will deal directly with me. There's not a ton of people out there in the world that does this for a living, that has the experience we do. So you want to work with somebody if you're going to even entertain investing in life settlements, is to work with somebody who's been around for a long time. This is what I do for a living. And we will go through page by page with you to go through those life expectancy reports and show you how we came to the conclusion of when this person is expected to pass. Okay. So if you'd like to do that again, just go to lifeassetllc.com. I appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you next time here on Truly Diversified. I'm Ben Mohr. Have a great day.